Yeah, I think we should to separate the pardons that are happening today.
It's a very strange idea, isn't it, a pardon? Like, because it's about forgiveness and it's about redemption, which is in itself obviously a spiritual concept. A pardon means, even though we know you've done this, you are forgiven. That's a pardon. A preemptive pardon, wow. Even though we know you haven't done this, we just want to make sure that if you were ever accused of doing this, you would be pardoned. That's what's extraordinary about many of the pardons granted by the Biden administration. Fauci pardoned, a string of Bidens pardoned, endless Bidens off into the future. Anyone that might be a Biden or could be a Biden. Did you see that meme of Baron Trump leaning over, apparently to Joe Biden, although community notes suggested he might have been leaning over to Kamala Harris, and some said, like, what's he saying? What's Baron Trump saying to Joe Biden here? You forgot to pardon yourself. But it seemed to me that Joe Biden pardoned anyone, including many people that were not alleged even to have done anything wrong, like Anthony Fauci, who still isn't under any serious investigation, as best as I can understand, for his numerous apparently illegal actions during the pandemic period. I mean, arbitrary advice. I mean, his financial involvement with groups like DARPA. I mean, his denial of the Wuhan lab leak theory of origin. His condemnation of men like Jay Bhattacharya and Martin Makary, people who are now, thankfully, Lord, in power. I'm interested in the pardons of the family members. I'm interested in preemptive pardons. Biden pardoned sexual predators. I mean, Lord, what a world we live in. What a world we live in. So whose pardons are good and whose pardons are bad? And what is the concept of a pardon, actually? And who has the power and authority, other than God, no one, to grant a pardon? To say, even though you've done that, even though you are broken and a wreck, we forgive you. Even the concept of a pardon shows that we need that on some level. And it also indicates that the Biden administration, they'll of course say, we've given all these pardons to people because we believe that Trump, once in office, will use the power of the presidency to condemn innocent people like the J6 committee who were doing nothing wrong at all, but Trump will come after them. So we're going to have to necessarily give them preemptive pardons. That's what they'll say. But what it looks a lot more like is that the Jan 6 committee and matters around the pandemic were in fact orchestrated actions used to legitimize citizen control and the advance of the interests of of various elites, whether those are financial interests or interests of dominion. And maybe there's an obvious intersection between those two ideas. An obvious example of profiteering would be the benefits that it afforded the pharmaceutical industry, and their capacity for state regulation is similarly obvious. But perhaps it's part of a broader globalist, inverted commas, agenda to instantiate power across the world and accrue it in limited institutions, accessible by limited individuals and able to bypass the normal democratic channels that suggest and insist, in fact, that power remains in the hands of the people and that the will of the people can influence power. Maybe these pardons have negated that entire process. Let's have a look at how CNN see it, though.
Yeah, I think we should to separate the pardons that are happening today. So the reason why Joe Biden pardoned
Let's separate these pardons. I'm going to put some pardons over there in what I call good pardons. And over there, Trump pardons. I mean bad pardons. Although actually the Trump pardons and the bad pardons are the same category, because that's just how I see reality.
And pardon the January 6th committee and other Milley and Fauci is because Donald Trump, you're right, he ran and people elected him. He said he was going to seek retribution. Now, retribution is not a part of the Constitution, right?
No, there's no retribution in Constitution except for the last three letters, ION. That's in there in both cases. But you can't use retribution. The thing that absolutely knackered my consciousness, if I may say, was when I saw various legacy media outlets condemning Trump when he left office in 2020, saying, if Trump were to actually pardon Don Jr. and members of his family and other acolytes of the Trump administration preemptively, that would be tantamount to an admission of guilt. So they better be saying it now that Biden has preemptively, through pardons, seemingly acknowledged the potential for wrongdoing of the Jan 6 committee, Fauci, and members of the Biden family. Let me know in the comments and chat what you think about that. They can't keep flexing and inverting their positions unless they have no principles. Right? So we put those in place. I
I think it's unfortunate that he pardoned his family today. I am a Democrat. I think that it does cloud what he did so I think you should bifurcate those two. And then I think the pardons for January 6th are completely different. The reason why today feels so...
Pretty funny that someone's like playing a trumpet under that, like, because as if that was the point of that person doing that. And while this lady tells you her particular perspectives on pardons and which pardons are good and which ones are bad, I'm going to just play this trombone. Don't get carried away about this gesture, by the way. This is a man playing a trombone. This is a man playing a trombone a bit lower down. This is Lily Phillips playing a trombone. Listen, she's a child of God. Come back, Lily. Come back, Lily. I know what it's like. I know what it's like. Okay, let's get back to these pardons. We all need one.
Today feels so abnormal is because of what happened last year or 4 years ago on January 6th.
When I said come back, Lily, that was not the suggestion that you offer the other cheek, as it were. Come back. I'm saying join us.
6th, something that none of us in our lifetime have ever seen. So on your day one, not you, Michael, but Donald Trump talks about lowering the cost of eggs. What you do is you let people out who undermined our Constitution.
Did he just say about lowering the cost of eggs? How did we get to that? We were talking about what? That was actually more tangential. Like some of you might watch this and go, Russell Brand's presentational style is somewhat discursive, as if he's continually caroming around a labyrinth in his own mind, picking up treasures and anomalies as he goes. You might think that. You might be thinking that in your mind right now. That's my job. That's not their job. Over on whatever that was on CNN. Well, like these pardons are over here preemptively. We got to separate it. It's unfortunate that he separated the Biden family. What are we going to do about the price of eggs? What? That's not your job. Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in Phoenix, believe that we are endowed by our Creator to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from the Constitution. A Christian university, eh? GCU believe in equal opportunities and equip everyone to serve others in ways that promote human flourishing, creating, as they believe, a ripple effect of transformation. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, a master's, or a doctoral degree, GCU's online and on-campus learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique goals. Why don't you learn a bit more? With over 340 academic programs as of March 2024, GCU provide you with a path to fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Wow, it's a pretty profound goal, isn't it? Because everything we do is about self, and this is about service. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable education. Visit gcu.edu/Russell. That's visit gcu.edu/Russell. 2 S's, 2 L's. Give it a try. Thanks.
Who undermined our Constitution, who undermined the election, who undermined people who felt like their life was not better under Donald Trump in 2020. They felt like they wanted a different 4 years, and that's why they elected Joe Biden. So I want to put those pardons in separate buckets, and I think we...
Oh, right. Is that what she's doing about eggs? Like you put some eggs in one bucket and some eggs in another bucket. Put something soft in there because, eggs, they have to be handled with care. Like opinions.
Buckets, and I think we should be talking about them differently because they are not all pardons are not created equal, in my opinion.
Only God can forgive you. I'm in recovery, of course, So in recovery, there's some things that are required. Absolute transparency, authenticity, and yielding to authority, total confession. So if you feel like you've done something wrong, and I'm always doing something wrong, I have to confess it. You can confess it to another human being, but baked into the philosophy of the 12 steps by which I live, a practical part of my own spiritual life, it says you admit to yourself, to God, and to another human being the exact nature of your wrongs. So, for example, if you've treated people bad, you go, "This is how I treated people bad. I made these mistakes," and the person goes, "Okay, I hear you," and God hears you as well. They might not explicitly say that, but that's almost happening in the process. It's baked into the process. A sort of a presidential pardon is an acknowledgement that what we have given a president is a godlike power, isn't it? They've got the power to start wars. They've got the power to end wars. Ideally with constitutional or congressional support or whatever the vernacular of your apparent democracy is. But really, where is the power coming from? Well, you could say the power is coming from the people because they have a mandate, because they were elected. That's people power. But where is the power? Where is the supreme authority actually coming from? If you're going to say someone is guilty or innocent, if you're going to say someone's going to live or die, that power's got to come from, I would say, I would say, an irrefutable absolute force. It can't be coming from these group of people have got a bigger gun or a bigger tribe or a bigger gang. It has to be that individual. Like, that's why a judge wears an outfit. That's why a pope wears an outfit. That's why a policeman wears an outfit, is to remind you and to remind them that their authority comes from, inverted commas, somewhere else. When you're dealing with presidents and presidential pardons, it has to be, doesn't it, that they are a conduit for godly power in the same way that a king or queen in a European nation like the one that I was born in has to include an anointing from God. And in fact, even with modern coronations, as I understand, the moment that the oil is placed on the sovereign's brow is still clandestine and the TV cameras aren't allowed to film it. Let me know in the comments and chat if I'm right about that. That's because it's sacred and holy and not fit for humans to judge. When you give a president the power to pardon, what you're saying is you have godlike powers. So you can look at it this way. Do you believe that Biden preemptively pardoned his family members and Fauci in the January 6th committee because Trump is so evil that he knew that Trump would come into office and then use the power, as the CNN commentator just said, for retribution, but not divine retribution, profane retribution? Or do you think that he knew that there was a chance that now that a new administration had access to bureaucratic, evidential proof that there was wrongdoing, that there would likely be consequences? Even as I'm saying it, the latter sounds more likely, doesn't it? Doesn't it? So, of course, a human pardon will be biased or arbitrary, but the concept of a pardon is holy, and it is from these colliding concepts that the dichotomy emerges and the necessity to surrender to the absolute power of God. May you find God now. May you find God now. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat? It must be more interesting than what I think. If you're watching this on Facebook, congratulations, because you can put anything on Facebook now. Mark Zuckerberg has given us, when I say us, I have received assurances that content on Facebook will now reach a maximal community. That's why I'm happy to have you back, members on Meta. If you're watching us on X, hey, thanks for watching us on X. If you're watching us on YouTube, well done for finding us, frankly. We're shadow banned in every conceivable direction. And if you're watching us on Rumble, thank you, because you're helping us to grow the community that supports us both financially, but also, morally, through the issue of free speech, which is pretty significant and important.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.